selling it quickly, you guys made money. Holding it longer, you probably could have made some more money, but at the time, your objective was to put money in your pocket. So that was the right decision at that point. How y'all doing? Sean, and guess where I am? No, we're not in Los Angeles. We are in Brooklyn, looking at the beautiful skyline of New York. And I'm here with Irving Moya, who is a real estate investor like you. He works with me. And I thought it would be a good opportunity, Irving, just come out here. First of all, this is your home turf. You're retired military. This is where you served your last stint in the military, Army, right down the street here. And so I thought, hey, Irvin, let's go up to the bridge and let's have a conversation. So let's talk a little bit about your career in the investing world. So you got out of military, went right into buying real estate. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Actually, I did it while I was still in the Army.
Okay.
In 2007, I attended my first real estate workshop with my wife. And I had about 5 years to retire from the Army, and I started training and applying before I retired. So it was a huge advantage that I was doing both at the same time.
You know, it's funny you say that because we get a lot of people coming in that we've trained that are ex-military. We've got somebody in there today, ex-MP, what have you. And it's really interesting how a lot of our students that are ex-military, they're like, okay, I'm getting ready to be I need to find another venue here. And the discipline you guys have is great. So talk about, we were talking about a deal earlier today, and I go, what were the lessons you learned in that? So didn't you do like a triple deal, like a wholesale deal down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. What were some of the
Absolutely.
lessons?
So I bought it from a wholesaler. We purchased a contract from a wholesaler. It was in North St. Petersburg. Part of the lesson for me was, number one, was the speed in which you can get a project done sometimes.
Right. We talk about the velocity of money and the speed of what you do things. And so that was your goal on that, wasn't it?
Absolutely. When you're fixing and flipping, a lot of times there was other ways to potentially make more money on that one by tearing it down, building two houses with their house behind it, that it was a double lot, and two houses down they did the same. We factored in it for our goal,
right.
Our exit strategy was to make money as quick as, so we just remodeled it and flipped it as it.
Oh, okay. Now in hindsight, so this was a few years ago.
Yeah.
If you would have done that differently now, knowing what you know now, would you have waited a little longer to maybe build a bigger property on there, or was moving the money quickly more important to you?
You know, sometimes it depends on what you're doing. You're absolutely right. In hindsight, I think I should have tear it down for the area. It just would have, there was so many more comps happening, so many more people doing the same thing, which was tearing it down and building two really nice houses.
Right.
It was almost a zero lot line where everything was pretty close together, but that's what the demand was.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably should have stuck to that instead of doing the quick fix and flip. Even though our returns were fine, I think we would have made way more money had we been a little more patient.
So, and let's talk about this, because I always talk about the partners you have, and you mentioned that a little bit. You know, I'm going to tell you this. This is the first mistake I see beginning investors make all the time, is they always get friends and family involved. And that's because that's a natural place to go is, listen, when you bring partners in, you bring in the drama also a lot of times. So, you know, if you can get private financing, I think that's always the way to go. But you learned that lesson there also, didn't you?
Yeah. So we had some hard money loan, and it was actually, we bought 3 properties around the same weekend, actually. Mm-hmm. And so one that was in South Tampa. And, you know, sometimes with partners, even if it's family or friends, their decisions and your decisions don't always align. And sometimes...
or they change.
Yeah, you step over $1 to pick up a dime.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some things that sometimes you want to just make sure that you remodel on a house, like electrical is one. You just can't skip those things. Sometimes you mentioned this, skipping steps.
Don't skip the steps.
Don't skip the steps. And you're absolutely right by saying that, because in this particular case, to resell it, the challenge was that the new buyer couldn't get insurance on the property because it was a potential risk, fire hazard.
Because you guys didn't change out the electrical box.
Correct.
Right?
And so sometimes thinking you're saving money, there's certain things that you just are a must. And that was one of the lessons in that one.
And there was a little dispute on that. Yeah, no, I get it. So, you know, all in all, it's all about, you know, moving the money as quickly as possible, if that's what it is. And we talked a lot about this today in our class, is what are your objectives? Because, you know, selling it quickly, you guys made money. Holding it longer, you probably could have made some more money, but at the time, your objective was to put money in your pocket. So that was the right decision at that point. I will say this, I'm at a point that I've regretted every property I've sold 5 years later.
100%.
I mean, if we both kept all the properties we've done over the last 10 years, and we're, you know, I mean, yeah, so there's a lot of that. So a little bit of that's going in, but again, I've never gone wrong, you know, making a big amount of money. Anyways, this is Irving and Sean in Brooklyn on the bridge, looking over New York, saying peace out.